Stone 13th, Blaze Rutherford 14th, Chance Jules 15th, 16th is Steve Stevenson.
Carson Ware, Sam Johnson also making a start tonight as the field is green. 100 laps of action on Fans Choice TV for the Pro Late Models in their championship night of the World Series. Into the lead goes the 7 of Jackson Boone.
Boone with the top spot here early, 100 laps. We're definitely going to have to worry about tire conservation, but Jeremy Miller not wasting any time. He looks to the inside of Dawson Fletcher for second.
Jeremy Miller taking a peek to the inside. We'll get back into line. Miller, after 4 nights of Pro Late Model racing, had 3 firsts and a third. One of those firsts, though, on that 4th night for the Pro Late Models, it was taken away in post-race tech for a body infraction, so Miller lost that night's win. That also cost him possibly a championship. As we watch now, the 51 of Jamie Skinner, the top qualifier. He has the 29 of Mason Keller and the 13 of Austin McDonald in tow.
They stay single file. Sammy Smith holding down the 4th spot. He runs about that middle lane, leaving the door open for Haseman. Haseman not going to take it. Going to stay in line, conserve his tires. And basically right now I think everybody's going to get into a rhythm. I don't think anybody's in a real hurry to make their way to the front unless they're not comfortable where they are. They feel like maybe things are a little too dicey where they're at. You're going to have take a peek to the inside for Haseman. He ducks back in line again.
Loris Haseman in the number 5 car in line behind the 81 of Sammy Smith. Smith running in the 4th position. Wants to win this race tonight. Put an exclamation point on his great week in that Anthony Campy Racing entry. He's had an outstanding week. Been in the top 5 every night. Has the 81 car of Smith. He's had finishes of 5th, 4th, 3rd, 1st, and 3rd last night as he gets to the inside of Jeremy Miller coming off of 4.
Don't forget either that 5 machine Jeremy Miller is retiring after tonight. This could be his last race of competition. Jeremy Miller would love, I'm sure, to finish that out with a victory. He's been so strong here in the 2019 World Series. I think he's definitely going to be one to watch as the night goes on.
Front of the field, Jackson Boone in the number 5 car. Out front, the number 7 of Boone leading the way. Fletcher was in second. There's the 5 of Jeremy Miller running third. But Miller tonight early on, maybe just not pushing it at this stage of the race, but he has a field stacking up behind him ready to make their moves.
Yeah, either that car is not handling like it has in the nights past, or he's in tire conservation mode. We're not entirely sure, but Sammy Smith not going to waste any time. He's going to drop to the inside, battle Miller for that 3rd position. Miller not going to give him much of a fight.
Now the team cars are there. The 51 of Skinner, the 5 of Haseman. Haseman will make the move first. Haseman to the inside of Miller. It is for the number 4 position. Skinner thought about it for a moment. As we close on the 1/10 mark of the race, Mason Keller in the 29 having a pretty good run early on tonight. The Indianapolis driver has struggled so far this week, which is kind of a surprise because Keller was really good down here in recent years.
He'd also been coming last year, I believe, with the Brandon Oakley team, doing his own deal this year. As Haseman gets around Miller now, Jamie Skinner going to work up underneath him as you can see the field flashing by our speed shot on the front stretch.
Good shot of the cars. You can hear the rev limiter on a couple of them as they went by. As Miller now drops behind McDonald. That's going to put him back in the 8th position. Jeremy Miller, if he's conserving tires, saving tires to the end, you would think he wouldn't want to get too far behind the 8 ball here, and he's fallen all the way back to 8th. Really fast race cars in front of him. The 29 of Mason Keller, the 13 of Austin McDonald.
McDonald right now holding on to the 7th position, but McDonald pressuring him. He's all over the back bumper. We'll see if he'll dive to the inside this time down into turn number 1. He thought about it. Can't quite get the position. Mason Keller running about that middle lane. He really gets a good run up off the corner.
Pro Late Models in the Zach Donati Memorial 100, our first race of the night as we go double box and show you a couple battles going on. The lead battle in the lower left, the upper right of the screen, Mason Keller in 6th, Austin McDonald in 7th. The American Auto Sportsman coming up next for a 35-lap feature. Of course, the Richie Evans Memorial 100 after a brief intermission tonight for the Tour Type Modifieds. The much talked about race all week long. Pro Trucks, a 50-lapper tonight. their debut for the World Series 2019 in the Ground Pounders. The vintage race cars will round out our evening here. Action-packed. We go from like 140 laps last night to like 300 laps tonight. It's crazy difference as we have plenty of action for a pretty full grandstand of race fans coming out for a big night at New Smyrna.
Great crowd on hand this evening. And your leaders, they're the two in your screen of Boone and Fletcher. They've almost opened up a three. Actually, they have opened up a 3-second lead over third. As Loris Hazeman's in that third position. Jamie Skinner in fourth. So your top two not wasting any time.
Jackson Boone in the 7 has gone back-to-back second-place finishes. Now we look back at the battle that continues for the 6th spot. Mason Keller and the 13 of McDonald. McDonald, a young driver in the 13 car from Nova Scotia. He's had Cassius Clark helping all week long, being his driver coach. McDonald, a 3-time Canadian INEX Legend champion. So we're still nose to tail there. The 13 of McDonald, 15 years of age, 5th place in the standings coming in, and back up front. There again, the 7 of Jackson Boone, the 71 of Dawson Fletcher.
Dawson not letting Jackson Boone get too far away. Once again, we go back and look at the battle for the 6th position. Mason Keller and Austin McDonald. They still run nose to tail down the front straightaway.
Austin McDonald having a solid run so far tonight. Car looks to be pretty strong. McDonald and the 13 looking for his first top 5 finish of the week. He's been finishing inside the top 10. Saw briefly Jackson Boone. Now we see Nicholas Noggle, an 08 car that's been good this week. Didn't qualify well tonight, but he does move up into the 9th position here. So on the move forward, the 08 of Nicholas Noggle. He started 11th. He's picked up a couple spots early on. Point battle, very important tonight between Sammy Smith and the 81. He's running in the top 5 in 5th right now. Todd Stone in the 1 car, veteran driver there. We always see him here at Speed Weeks, whether it's in the Florida Modifieds or whether it's in the Prolates. This year, the Prolates only. And he's finding himself 10 points behind Smith for the championship.
Just behind those two, Jeremy Miller, 26 points back in 3rd. It's going to be a bit of a long shot if he gets this one done. He needs to win, and he needs Sammy Smith, Todd Stone, and have a not-so-good night. But Jeremy Smith definitely has been the standout so far, or really this year in the Pro Late models. Just hasn't really, can't put all of the finishes together because of post-race tech. Really, that one disqualification really took him out of it.
There's never been a repeat Pro Late Model champion in the World Series. And if Sammy Smith wins tonight, that will continue to be the case. As the 1 of Stone makes his run at the 08 of Noggle for the 9th position.
Noggle also 4th in the points. He's had a pretty good World Series this year. Definitely improved upon from last year. Right now he's got pressure from Todd Stone. Once again for 9th. These drivers 9th and 10th. Todd Stone is just a bit faster, but Noggle running that middle lane. And when drivers can run that middle lane, they can make themselves real hard to pass because you really carry all the momentum.
Noggle has had finishes of 4th and 3rd this week. His best 2 finishes coming in the middle of the week, as right now he has Stone pressuring him. Miller in the 5 now. Jeremy Miller in the 5 on the inside lane, racing with McDonald. Looks like maybe turning it up the wick a little bit.
Jeremy Miller, we saw him drop back in a hurry in the beginning part of this race, and now we're going to start slowly creeping his way forward, almost at the 1/3 mark of this race, about 5 laps away from it. Miller going to try to gain back a little bit more of that track position.
So Miller's picked up the spot from McDonald. That's going to be 7th. Mason Keller next on his list in the 29 car. Noggle has run down McDonald. He gets a run to the inside. Boy, close racing coming off of 2.
Yeah, McDonald not leaving a whole lot of room for Noggle. Noggle going to still peek down to the inside. Whoa, big wiggle. I believe that's the 3 machine of Steve Stevenson.
That's going to get tight here. Stevenson runs the bottom, going down a lap. Got to the racetrack just moments before qualifying tonight.
Didn't even have time to put the numbers on the door.
Didn't get a chance to do that, and didn't get a chance to practice either today as Miller starts to pressure the 29 of Keller. Keller closed the door in the middle of 3 and 4, so Miller checks up. About the 1/3 mark of this race complete. Caution free so far. 29 of Keller leading the way. One of our 2 100-lap races on our schedule tonight. New Smyrna Speedway, a beautiful Friday. Absolutely picture-perfect day to be out and about during the day and come out to the racetrack tonight. It's the 13 of McDonald to hold off the 08 of Noggle, the 1X of Stone to the inside. Noggle makes some contact with McDonald. Going to lose a couple of spots here, the youngster from Nova Scotia.
Noggle using a little bit of sweet chin music to get by the 13 of McDonald. Todd Stone able to capitalize on that as well. Move McDonald now back a couple of spots into 10th. Daniel Dye just behind him as well. Jeremy Miller going to continue to work on this 29 of Keller as they come up on the slower traffic of Carson Reed Ware, and he's going to get turned by the 29 of Keller, and the first caution in 2 nights for the Pro 8 models is out.
Carson Reed Ware in the 51 car spinning. He was not on the lead lap, and contact came from behind from one of the lead lap cars, bringing us our first yellow flag of night number 8. 34 laps down of the scheduled 100. We had all of our cameramen watching that one. Worked out nice for some great shots there here on fanschoice.tv. The 51 of Ware brings out the yellow. He was running back in the 16th position.
Carson has not had the greatest speed weeks. Has been really involved in a handful of accidents. You see that, I believe he's got a different left front fender on that thing than what he originally showed up here. At least it's different color. I don't think they just said we're going to go ahead and just paint this left front a different color real quick.
A little lighter of a red color. That's the 51 of Ware gets rolling again. We'll catch the back of the field. So 35 laps in. 65 laps to go. As you see him following the 22 of Brandon Oakley, a one-time Winchester 400 pole sitter around the racetrack. Regular in the ARCA CRA Super Series and Jake Sari All-Stars Tour for a while, and he comes down to the pits as well.
You know where he finished in that race?
20-something.
Yeah, I think he got in the wall shortly after qualifying.
Made a number of starts in the Winchester 400, has Brandon Oakley. That's Carson Reed Ware. We watched the 51 car in his pit stall. And here's a look at the replay. As you see, the closing rate was very high, and Ware was kind of in the middle of the racetrack. And
come down a little bit, too.
Yeah, came down the banking a little bit, and Keller turns him around in the second corner. We take one more look at it, and a little bit of a slower motion.
Good heads-up driving by everybody to avoid him.
I think it was a good job by Ware to lock up the brakes and stay on the bottom of the track, not let it slide up in front of traffic. So, good deal for Miller as he had to check up, made a little bit of contact with that car of Keller. What a crowd tonight.
Great crowd.
Packed from the top to the bottom in those big grandstands here in front of the booth. Even the overflow stands on each side of the main grandstand area. A lot of people coming out to watch the Richie Evans Memorial 100. Should be a pretty good crowd tomorrow night as well for the 100-lap super late model finale, and 4 or 5 divisions again on hand tomorrow night. So action far from over after tonight. But tonight we will see for the final time the Pro Late models and the Tour Type Modifieds. There's the damage on the left rear, just a little bit of cosmetic damage from the bumper being put to the 51 of Ware.
I think we definitely know where that came from. Sometimes it's hard to decipher where the damage came from. We can pretty much trace that right back to tonight, but the field is doubled up with 37 laps complete.
Caution laps are counting tonight for the 100-lap races as we come to green off of turn 4, the 7 of Boone, 71 of Fletcher. Fletcher gets a pretty good restart, but Boone does pull ahead by the start-finish line going into turn number 1. Can Fletcher stay ahead of Skinner, the top qualifier? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Skinner gets to the outside, battle for second.
Yeah, I think this is going to get interesting. Your top two leaders have really been, have taken off quite well and got a big lead over the rest of the field, as the rest of the field really was sitting back in conservation mode. But Jackson Boone wasting no time. Dawson Fletcher going to battle back on Skinner. On the inside, he might clear him. He will this time, but Skinner going to give him a shot.
Yeah, Skinner gets into the back of Fletcher in turn number 4. Maybe felt that the 71 ran him up the track a little bit in previous laps. Meanwhile, it allows the 5 car of Loris Haseman, the team car, to skitter to the inside.
Sideways.
It's a battle for third.
Real sideways off turn 2 was Haseman's, doing a good job of hanging on to that machine. Can't quite get the bite off the corner. Dawson Fletcher with a mirror full of the ATF gunslinger machines. Now Haseman peeks to the inside of Fletcher. Fletcher had a real solid run at CRA Speedfest 2019. Finished second to Casey Roderick.
Haseman, a couple of top 5 finishes this week. Opening night, finished third, and then struggled a couple nights, but bounced back with a 4th last night, as we're side by side here. The 81 of point leader Sammy Smith, and the 29 of Keller. Keller moving forward. They found something on that car. I think he's made it much better for tonight.
Yeah, certainly looks a lot better, even though wiggled a little bit that time off turn number 4. The driver in front of him, though, is one I've been real impressed with. Picture of consistency is Sammy Smith, and Anthony Campi does a great job on molding young drivers. We saw it last year with Giovanni Romani. He didn't have the best World Series last year, was caught up in his fair share of accidents, but moving forward after the World Series, picked up a handful of wins.
Todd Stone making a run at the 29 of Mason Keller will be for the 6th position. Gets to the inside again, and looking up front, Jackson Boone, very fast in the first half of this race. 44 laps in, 56 laps to go. Second on back, nose to tail.
Good run out of turn 2 for Haseman. He pulls right to the back bumper. Is he trying to try the inside this time? He will. Fletcher leaves him a lane, but Fletcher going to get a good run out of turn 4 and possibly clear him down the front stretch.
He's actually waving his hand out the window saying, you go ahead. I'm going to move over and let you take the spot. So Haseman moves up to second. Fletcher holding on to third, but maybe not for long. Skinner is there, makes a run to the inside, comes up the track a little bit, and will clear him. Some contact made as Skinner slams the door shut. And because of that, it allows Sammy Smith to the inside of him.
Skinner not scared right now to use the fenders, use the door, anything he can to work around, at least Dawson Fletcher, that is. But that opened up the door for Smith. Smith going to hustle that machine out of turn number 4 and remain side by side. This is a battle for third.
Sammy Smith, good side-by-side battle right now for that number 3 position with Jamie Skinner. Smith doesn't want to take a chance to tear the car up. All he needs to do tonight basically is stay ahead of the 1 of Todd Stone, and he'll end up in victory lane with a championship at the very least. He does cross the line in position number 3. He clears top qualifier Jamie Skinner.
I think this 81 is going to be a real threat this evening. Every night he's gotten better and better, and he still hasn't finished outside the top 5 once all of this year's World Series. And another driver who's really laid low so far in this race as we almost hit the halfway point is Jeremy Miller in that 5. He's worked his way back up to 9th after dropping almost out of the top 10 in the beginning of the race.
Yeah, he had actually picked up a couple of spots before the yellow, but I think he got shuffled back on the restart. So now he's got to recover again, and that's one of the problems, falling back early in the event like that. You put yourself in the wrong lane on the restart, you might fall out of the top 10 or have to rally a little bit more than you would like to. But he doesn't seem to have the car tonight, is what we've seen throughout the week. But still a long way to go. 49 laps to go as we're past the halfway mark.
Noggle right now hanging on to 7th. Mason Keller looking to his inside out of turn number 2. Noggle, though, has been really good in that second lane, but he bobbled out of 2. Almost opened up an opportunity for the 29 of Keller. Keller once again back to the inside.
He got it free coming off a 2. That time there's some contact. Keller drops back in line. Jeremy Miller will look to the inside. It's heating up now. 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. They're all nose to tail until Keller jumps out of line. He's looking to the inside for 7th.
Keller with the best look he's had so far on Noggle. They're going to make A little bit of contact out of turn number 2. Put a couple donuts on that 08 machine. Side by side into 1.
And there's Stone picking up a spot on the 71 of Fletcher. Stone side by side with Fletcher going into the corner. It's for 5th, and Todd Stone is there. He started outside the top 10. In fact, Todd Stone started tonight in 13th. But the veteran driver, who's second in the World Series points for the Pro-Lates, is on the move to the front.
He's methodically picked his way back up. Mason Keller going to run Noggle up the racetrack a little bit. They go by the 24D of Dalton Smith. Able to work around him with no issues. Still more contact between the 08 and the 29.
Oh, Keller closes the door. That could have gotten ugly in a hurry. Jeremy Miller will take advantage as well. Gets to the inside of Noggle. Miller sideways. Here comes the 13 of Austin McDonald, as he again has rallied from the back of the field. They made a pit stop under the last yellow. But McDonald makes some contact with Noggle there, and will get back in line.
Noggle's left side door has really been used up over the past few laps.
It's about a 0.00008. As you see the 51 of Skinner, the 1 car of Stone, and the 71 of Fletcher. Skinner running in 4th, Stone running in 5th, and Fletcher running 6th as they head to turn 1 and 2.
Todd Stone going to try to pick up this 4th spot over Skinner, as Fletcher has gotten into a rhythm here in the 6th position. I might have gone a little too hard, a little too early, but over the next 10 to 15 laps, intensity is going to start picking up here as we're closing in on the end of this race.
Oh, we know the 51 car of Skinner was set up for short runs tonight because he was fastest in qualifying a little while ago. Right now he's fading a bit as Stone has come from 13th. Skinner started 6th and worked his way toward the lead, and now he backpedals a little bit. 4th and 5th right there. Skinner in the 51, Stone in the 1X. Both drivers have turned plenty of laps around this half mile.
Going to be looking at 2x2 off turn number 4, side by side for that 4th position. Todd Stone going to clear him here easily through 1 and 2. I think Skinner didn't want to fight him too hard for that one.
Todd Stone, one of the better race cars on the track right now, the 1X, getting it done right now. Moving back through the field after starting outside the top 10. Stone crosses the line in 4th. Our point championship battle, 3rd and 4th of the drivers right now. Sammy Smith, the point leader. Todd Stone, 2nd in the points, running 4th. And that's the leader. We haven't seen him in a while, and that's because he's all by himself. Jackson Boone, the Oakley number 7 at the front of the field.
He's got Loris Haseman slightly behind him. Actually, Haseman been reeling him in. It was the lead at one point, was about 1.5 seconds, and Haseman has it under a second. There he is on your screen. I think starting to pick it up, picked up 2/10 that lap.
Yeah, he's been a 10th or 2 quicker the last couple of laps, so maybe Boone's handle's starting to go away. Haseman's got a good race car. He's closing that gap. Haseman moving up in the 5 car. Driver from the Netherlands. Ran in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Elite Division last year. Also was a member of the Drive for Diversity Combine held here at New Smyrna Speedway in the fall. You see the 08 of Noggle, the 13 car of McDonald. Noggle, close call there in turn 3.
These two guys haven't been able to separate really since the drop of the green flag. Noggle's been just a touch faster than McDonald. McDonald's been able to stay on his back bumper, but he's only gotten by him once or twice, and he got it right back on that restart.
Nicholas Noggle running 9th, Austin McDonald running 10th. The team car to McDonald, his driver coach is Cassius Clark, the longtime super late model veteran, but Clark is way back in 13th. He hasn't been able to get that car going tonight, and he's actually used it a few times in testing this week in practice, but hasn't raced it tonight. It hasn't shown any speed in this event. Jackson Boone, the 7 car, your leader. He was actually quicker the last time by. Loris Haseman, he might have just turned up the wick a little bit to keep that gap.
Yeah, he's able to keep him in striking distance. If we don't get a caution towards the end of this race, I think Haseman wants to be in striking distance. That way he can really capitalize if something happens as we close in on 30 laps to go.
Boone was quicker again that last time around, so we'll keep our eyes on those two. But that lead is sort of been about the same for the last 5 laps or so as the 5 of Haseman quit cutting into it. So he may have used it up a little bit.
Jackson Boone has led, I believe, every single lap here so far. Going to flash across the stripe. And lead lap 70, 30 laps to go. There is your point leader for the Pro Late Models. Sammy Smith riding in third.
Second place point contender Todd Stone in the 1X running in the 4th spot. So right now Smith would win the championship battle if the race ended now, and I don't think it will. Smith would win the points by 12. 2 points per position. Has a 10-point lead coming in, way up the track in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he seems to be trying to roll in the cushion there through 1 and 2. We'll see. May just be his line of choice. As we got one car up in smoke, Mason Keller, and he was having such a good run and was running in the 7th spot.
Blows up heading into turn number 1. The Gedeck Trailer Sales 29 will head to pit road. Mason Keller, Indianapolis, Indiana driver, coming from the CRA Street Stocks, moving up into the Pro Late Models a year or 2 ago. You can see actually smoke the liquid on the right rear tire of that race car.
I'm not sure if oil was coming out of the tailpipes and got on that tire. It does make them a handful when you're at speed. Good job hanging on to that machine, and I think this is where things are going to start getting dicey at him. This is go time.
So the 29 of Keller back into the infield. Done for the night, but the team at least showed definite signs of making that car faster this evening. So they will push it back to the trailer, and they will head back to Indianapolis. There's a good close-up look of that 29 car. 28 laps to go down to the final little shootout here. A lot of the shorter distance races this week going 35 laps, even less than that left in this Zach Donati Memorial.
Jeremy Miller currently sitting in the 7th spot. There we get a nice tight shot of that right side by our cameraman Alec Jorgensen.
Definitely some engine issues on that 29 car. The buggy's running tonight.
Yep. So they fixed it from last night.
Saw at one point it was used up in the infield, but it's back in action tonight.
Daniel Dye on pit road. And I believe that's Austin McDonald.
Yeah, McDonald's taken a couple of opportunities under yellow to come down into the pits in this race, and we've only had a couple of caution flags. You should see the tour type modifieds lined up on pit road after qualifying. They were impounded there, and that's where they go for the Richie Evans Memorial 100 coming up here in a little bit. One race in between this one and that event. It will be the American Auto Sportsman 35 lapper. It's coming up next.
Haven't seen the Sportsman since night 1. It's good to see them back here. The World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing.
A little bit of haze kind of rolling in, some fog, and we've seen fog come into New Smyrna Speedway before.
Cut us short that one night.
Yeah, it can bring in some dew, it can bring in some fog, and could make things interesting as the night goes on. As Jackson Boone's the leader in the 7, but Loris Haseman has a good race car in the 5. The point battle, the point championship contenders in second row with Smith and Stone. Smith a little sluggish on the restart. We head to turn 1. Jackson Boone the advantage.
3 wide. I believe that's for the 5th position. Jeremy Miller's hit the go button. Dawson Fletcher gets up and into the wall. Now he's definitely got some problems. We moved the rear end of that machine and now going to go around and hard contact to the outside wall.
Terrible break for Dawson Fletcher. A driver that made the invert tonight in his first start of the week. Beautiful race car. Severe damage. Hit turn 2 coming off. Thought he might be okay. We've seen other drivers do the same thing, but when you saw the smoke coming from the left rear tire, you knew the rear end had shifted around a little bit. When he got to turn 3, it was shifted enough to cause a big issue, spin the car around, and he was along for the ride.
Yeah, we saw Sammy Smith hit it about the same spot the other night, but definitely didn't hit it quite as hard as Fletcher. Fletcher with the window down, getting ready to climb out of that machine. And it looked like something had broken. Clearly something did break in the rear end, but he just couldn't tell going straight down the straightaway. And I was wondering when he got to turn 3 if he was going to be able to hang on to it. And we found out rather quickly.
And, he had that 3-wide battle that shuffled him up the track a little bit, so he slowed up, actually, and moved high to try to avoid contact. And when he did, he got into the wall. That's what shifted the rear end around and made it a handful over in turn number 3, and it's too much to maneuver turns 3 and 4 without destroying the rear end of that race car. So an unfortunate break for that 71. Dawson Fletcher climbs out. Driver seems to be okay. The car, however, pretty used up.
Lap 74 caution laps have stopped counting for the remainder of this race. So about 26 laps left. It'll be all under green.
Dawson Fletcher had a pretty good showing at the Speedfest event, CRA Speedfest at Watermelon Capital Speedway's Chris Motorsports Park in January. He was one of the contenders for the win that day.
And the JEG CRA Pro All-Star race.
Backing up to the 71 of Fletcher. On the hook. You see the JEG CRA All-Stars Tour logo still across the window. Back in January for the driver of the 71. So we've only had a few yellows, but that one right after the previous one.
Yeah.
So we hope that doesn't become a theme. It can when you go double file, and drivers now a little impatient and making moves wherever they can. Everybody's on the go button hard right now this late in the race.
Yeah. Pro late models, it can become a theme of once you get one caution. Cautions breed cautions definitely applies to pro late models. But this year we've seen a different breed of pro late models. They've really been, for the most part, pretty clean. We've only had, most of the wrecks have been single car wrecks. I think Haley Deegan had the crash of the World Series so far as the highlight reel.
Yeah, and she had come off of turn 4 on what was the second night we actually got to race, and pushed up the track just a little bit and got into the left side of Todd Stone. The car spun off of Stone when she bumped tires there, and it pretty much took the wheel out of the hands at that point. She slammed the inside retaining wall, making a short into her week, and she was fast.
Yes, she was. And I believe if she would have continued or been able to continue, we would have seen her in victory lane.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we would have seen her battling for the championship. She was very fast.
Racing with
second on the first night to Miller.
Yeah, racing with the Jet Concrete team and Cody Jett. Obviously, they know how to build a late model to race around here at New Smyrna Speedway. As Jeff Choquette won the Pro Late Model Championship last year, I believe.
Yeah, he was a year ago at the World Series, very fast. Won like 4 out of the 6 races I think we had for the Pro Lates a year ago. As the 71 makes its way back. On the back of the tow truck. Losing some extra body panels there.
A little bit of debris on the racetrack now.
So the 71 of Dawson Fletcher done for the night. 74 laps in, 26 laps to go. Glad to have you with us here on FansChoice.tv. Casey LaJoy and Adam Mackey with you once again tonight. And we'll be with you again tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time as the final night of the World Series takes place. I'm sure somebody run out and pick that up, and we'll be able to get back to racing with this field doubled up, ready to go.
Will anybody hit it? That is the question. Been good so far.
I would think that the spotters were all over that one.
Yeah, sometimes, though, drivers don't pay attention. Ooh,
that was close. Steve Stevenson almost got it right before the buggy got there. So track should be clear. Still slowly getting the Fletcher 71 car back down the back straightaway to the infield. And 26 laps from the finish.
There you see the modifieds on pit road. Another great shot of the crowd here on hand at New Smyrna Speedway. Somewhere in here is Mi Familia.
And to those who speak English, that's my family, his family. The joys are in the house tonight. There's the Fletcher 71 making its way back into the infield, going a little extra slow because of the damage to the front end of the race car as well.
I think seen better days.
Ralph Miller has got a lot of TV time this past week. Chief starter for the World Series at New Smyrna Speedway, and he gives the one-to-go signal. The field is doubled up. Jackson Boone in the 7. Loris Haseman in the 5. Sammy Smith, the 81. The 1 car of Stone. The 51 car of Jamie Skinner restarting 5th. Jeremy Miller's made his way back up to 6th. Don't count him out quite yet in the 5.
I think him being on the outside is an advantageous spot for him, too. These Pro Late models really good up on the outside on these restarts. Jackson Boone, your leader, chose the outside, but a good start by Haseman on the inside.
Down into turn 1. Haseman does get a good restart. Look out, Stone hangs on to it. Dirt tracking up on the cushion coming off of turn 2.
Great save by Todd Stone. Look at this battle for the lead. Loris Haseman, I believe, going to go up and lead his first lap of the World Series.
Jackson Boone had led every lap. A restart, though, puts Haseman out front. His car is good, but is it good enough to hold off the 7 of Jackson Boone? There's Miller making his run in the 5 car to the inside.
Back up front, Sammy Smith going to try to take away second from Jackson Boone. Boone looks awfully sideways here once we restarted this race with almost 20 laps to go. We're just above 20. Down the back straightaway, battle still on for second.
Sammy Smith, point leader, has taken second away from Jackson Boone. And now Boone will try to hit his marks and see if he can rally and come back for those top 2. But it's got to be disheartening. He had such a dominant car over the first 74 laps of this race.
What a job Sammy Smith has been doing. Former legend car driver joined up with Anthony Campy. Campy's really been working with this kid, and he's been a lightning bolt out of the gate. He's put together solid run after solid run, and now seems to be here at the end of this race. He's got the best car in the field.
Talked about Jeff Chiquette in his Pro Late Model last year. He actually made a couple Pro Late Model starts last year at the World Series. It was the previous year where he ran a few more of the Super Late Model and Pro Late Model races, but he had won 4 features over the last 2 World Series. He was 1 for 2 last year and had won 3 the previous years. We watched the 13 run the inside of Daniel Dye. That's the Austin McDonald 13 on the low side of Daniel Dye as they come down the front straightaway.
Austin McDonald now going to try to work on the 5 of Blaze Rutherford, but back up front. Battle is on for the lead, and Haseman closes the door on the 81 of Smith.
Smith has had such a good week. The 81 car has been outstanding. An Iowa driver, former Legends car racer. As we watch now Steve Stevenson move over to the low side. Haseman gets around him. The leader, top 3, stacking up a little bit as they go around the slower traffic. Sammy Smith leading the points by 10 over Todd Stone. Qualified outside pole for the 2019 Red Eye Pro Late Model 50. But right now he's impressed all week long, and he would love to finish this week with an exclamation point and a championship and a win in the Zach Donati Memorial. Smith running second to the rear bumper of Haseman.
Skinner also trying to reel in this battle as well, but right now Sammy Smith, the fastest car on the racetrack, just trying to find a way around Haseman, and here it is. The door is open. He drops to the inside of the 5 of Haseman, side by side for the lead.
Bold move, and that car rotated the bottom real well. Boone, he's picked up the pace again in the 7. He's trying to regroup, get up there and battle with the top 2, but Smith, he might set sail now on the 81 car as he pulls away from the 5 of Haseman.
Boone trying to reel in. Second place, Haseman going to try to peek up underneath. Haseman for that second spot, pulls back in line. Skinner once again still trying to reel them back in. The top 4 have really opened up a lead over the 5th place running Todd Stone.
Back-to-back second place finishes for Jackson Boone. Tonight running 3rd. He would love to get up there and challenge for the win. He doesn't want to really settle for that second spot 3 nights in a row, but impressive nonetheless. Good week for the 7 of Jackson Boone as Smith pulls away, 14 to go.
Boone to be looking dominant early and led up until about lap 74, I believe, and maybe just used a little bit too much of that 7 machine early instead of saving it here for the end of the race. But that 81 is really turned on. Side by side for second. He peeks underneath Haseman.
That 7 car still handling really well, but he gets into the corner, makes some contact. Haseman wheels it. Nearly some more contact. Boone side by side, wheel to wheel down the front stretch. 12 to go. Credit Haseman with a great job not to spin. He then gets door slammed a little bit in turn 1. Now the team car. Skinner to the inside of Haseman. It's for third.
Jackson Boone not trying to waste any time. Skinner also going to maybe move the 5 up the racetrack just a bit. Todd Stone has reeled these 2 guys in as well. Haseman fighting hard on the outside.
Up the track a little bit, Skinner trying to get past the team car. A little bit of contact that opens the outside lane for Todd Stone. Stone's going to put it out there, see if he can make the move. Skinner goes up the track. Stone crosses over, gets to the inside on the front stretch.
Stone not going to have a run to keep that nose inside into turn 1. They're also going to have the 24 of Dalton Smith to work around down the back straightaway.
Stone right now running behind Skinner. It's 4th and 5th on the racetrack. Smith leads, Boone's in second, Haseman in third, then Skinner and Stone. Good pro late model racing tonight for the big race of the week. To finish out the week for these drivers in the pro late model, some contact Stone and Skinner hit. This could develop into something a little bit more. They're wheel to wheel, turns 3 and 4. Stone will pass him, Skinner will drop in line.
Stone going to clear him down the front straightaway. Will Skinner bit back to the rear bumper of Stone? He will not. Stone will drive away here with the 4th position.
Yeah, Skinner's car has gone away. Second half of the race tonight, he was okay right after that restart, but it again is faded. Look at the lead that Smith had built up. Nobody else was even in the picture as the 08 car of Noggle led by a hat coming off of turn number 4. Miller there in the 5. 13 car of McDonald, nose to tail. Noggle in the 08 car, running in the 6th spot.
Miller hasn't been as impressive as we've seen him in nights past. Currently right now in 7th. McDonald all over the back bumper. He was my pick for tonight's 100 lapper, but right now nobody has anything for Sammy Smith, this time by 5 laps remaining.
The leader, Boone, right there in the 7, enters turn number 1 with 5 to go. Boone's in second. There's the leader, Smith. Boone led that 3-car pack of Haseman and Stone down the front straightaway, but this guy, Sammy Smith, way out front.
Not really even working the wheel you see on corner exit. You see his gloves nice and smooth behind the wheel of that machine, and great guidance by Anthony Campy all week in that 81 machine.
Jackson Boone in the 2nd spot. It could be his 3rd straight runner-up finish. Most would be happy with that, but man, he wanted to get into victory lane. It's his 2nd trip to Speed Week, the World Series here at New Smyrna Speedway, the 81 car. Leading the way still, Sammy Smith, Jackson Boone, and Loris Haseman. 2 laps to go for Sammy Smith.
And Smith has picked up a win at this year's World Series, but it was by virtue of the tech shed. He finished second. Jeremy Miller got DQ'd. He got the win, and talking to him down in the pits the day after, he said it really mean that much more to win it on the racetrack. This time, 1 more lap to go.
Ralph Miller waving the white cloth as he crosses under the line. Sammy Smith, a huge lead. He could almost coast for half a lap and still pick up the victory. He's got that big of an advantage. That time at the line, it was over 2 seconds. He goes into turn 3. He heads to turn 4 from Johnston, Iowa to New Smyrna's Victory Lane, winning Sammy Smith. Jackson Boone crosses in second. Loris Haseman takes third. Todd Stone takes the 4th spot. Jamie Skinner finishes 5th. Rest of the top 10, Nicholas Noggle, Austin McDonald, Jeremy Miller just didn't have it tonight in the 5. Daniel Dye was 9th, and Blaze Rutherford finishes in the 10th spot. The 81 of Sammy Smith coming to Victory Lane with a big win in the Pro Late 100 tonight. Smith takes the left turn into victory lane, where he gets his second win of the week. The first time that he claims it by crossing under the checkers first. Again, a disqualification got him a win a few nights ago. He's got a smile underneath that helmet. Young driver from Iowa. What a week it was for he and the Campy Racing team. And a first race in the books of a scheduled 5 tonight on fanschoice.tv. Removes the balaclava and now getting ready to climb out in victory lane, and he'll be with our own Casey LaJoie. Casey?
And Sammy Smith soaking it in down here in victory lane. His first victory on track here at New Smyrna Speedway, and here he is climbing out of the car, getting a bath in victory lane, getting a hug from his crew guys. Sammy, I talked to you earlier this week after the disqualification from Jeremy Miller. You got the win, but just didn't sit right. What are your emotions right now? Not only picking up the race win, but the championship as well.
Yeah, I don't know. These guys, Anthony Campy Racing guys, gave me a really good car. We were saving a lot at the beginning. Then after that last caution, we went hard and we pulled away, and our car was good.
How much direction does Anthony Campy give you throughout this whole week?
Yeah, him and Bruce, my spotter, were leading me through that whole race, when to save and go. I just got to thank them, TMC, Communication Data Link, Sinclair Tractor, my mom and dad, and Harold Annette for everything.
Sammy Smith, your winner, and obviously, Adam, a bright future ahead of him.
Absolutely. The future seems to be now as he moves into victory lane for a second time this week and continues the streak of no repeat champions at the World Series and Pro Late Model competition over the years, as Smith becomes a first-time World Series champion in his first visit to New Smyrna Speedway for the World Series. Zach Donati's father will be in victory lane to present the trophy for the Zach Donati Memorials. We look at our top 15 finishers tonight. Sammy Smith, followed by Boone, Hazeman, Stone, and Skinner. Noggle, McDonald, Miller, Dye, and Rutherford. The rest of the top 10, there's Cassius Clark, the veteran, Jules, as well as Johnson, Oakley, and Dalton Smith. Second place finisher tonight, driving the number 7. He's Mr. Second Place, Jackson Boone. Casey?
Yeah, Mr. Second Place has really kind of been, unfortunately, your name this year. Looked really good in the beginning. What did you need at the end?
We need a little bit more cut in the center. First and foremost, huge thanks goes to my mom and dad, Oakley, Gold Star Landscaping, all the guys back at the shop, Eagle One Performance. Man, that hurts. Felt like we had it there for a while, and I was really convinced that, if we could just go caution-free for the rest of the race, we were going to get it. But I need a little bit more cut in the center. I think I got too much air in my right front and just kind of burned my stuff up there and did everything I could. It really, really hurts. I really want to win, but, it is what it is, and really thankful for this opportunity that God's placed in my hands, and hopefully we can get a win here soon.
Jackson Boone, another second, but he certainly has a win on the horizon.
One would think that would be the case. His second trip to the World Series, and this year he was improved from last year, where he wasn't too bad in his first ever visit in 2018, but so close to wins, and a big win tonight. I'm sure Jackson Boone would have loved to have. Third place finisher tonight was Loris Hazeman. He's with Casey LaJoie.
Yeah, Loris Hazeman's a solid third, man. You look good there for a little bit of rough racing with Jackson Boone. What'd you think about all that?
Oh, I think it was great racing. I mean, really fair. Yeah, it was wheel to wheel, but that's what it's all about, pro late model racing. So I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to ATF and Gunslinger, because all week, they were coaching me. They have been simply great. The car has been great, so I cannot thank them enough for everything that I learned this week. I can't wait to drive some more pro late models.
Loris Hazeman's used the Speed Weeks as a solid learning experience.
And he was pretty talented driver behind the wheel of the 5, and he proved it this week on track, having 3 top 5 finishes, I should say, during the course of the week. The Pro Late Models, they're lining up nose to tail on pit road. The Sportsmen after the Pro Late Models. The Sportsmen coming up next. They've got a 35-lapper coming our way here at the World Series. We'll be back with it on fanschoice.tv.